Hello lovelies, and welcome to today's video. My name's Alya and I'm so glad that you stopped by. Today we're talking about cholesterol and how it affects your eyes and your general health. You know, cholesterol can be seen on photography when you go and see your eye specialist, so it can be easily detected and managed, and it can avoid much bigger problems like heart attacks and strokes. So stick around for my tips of how to reduce and prevent developing cholesterol issues, but also how they present in the body and some of the things that they can cause. I hope you enjoyed today's video and you find it interesting and useful. A very serious topic today, absolutely, but we're going to create a really fun, colourful eye look to complement it. Hopefully my voice keeps up with my video today. I had to take midweek off because it was just not having it, my voice, but it seems to be more or less back now. So I guess with cholesterol, it's a really interesting topic because people don't often think about it until much later on in life, which is kind of a shame, to be honest, because you can do so much to avoid becoming high cholesterol, but not so easy to get it back down once it's up. Not impossible, just not so easy. Just like anything, it's easier not to get heavy rather than try to lose weight. It's easier, all those things. Prevention rather than trying to find a cure. But as true as all of that might be, today I'm going to definitely mention a few things that will definitely act to improve the situation if you do happen to have high cholesterol. Both natural and medical solutions. So what is cholesterol? Let's start with that. So cholesterol is a waxy substance that is really important for the body's normal function. But there are 3 different types, and only one of those types is needed for normal function. The other types are actually a hazard to our body, can cause plaques to form, especially in our arteries, so making the artery really rigid, really hard, and unable to work sufficiently and properly. It can cause things like strokes and heart attacks because it causes the artery to narrow, not just become stiff, but also the internal passageway becomes narrowed as the walls build up with stuff. It's exactly like the plaque on our teeth, that you need to brush away every morning. Same thing happens as the build-up inside the arteries due to high cholesterol or poor diet or obesity, etc., etc. Now, we don't want any of that stuff in our arteries. It can break off and go to a smaller artery, blocking it all together, and depending where that artery is, cause either a heart attack if it's on the outside of the heart and prevents the heart from beating any longer, or a stroke if it's happening in the brain, or a mini stroke if it happens in the eye. And in the eye, we're calling them branch artery or branch vein occlusions, depending whether it's happening in an artery or a vein. It can definitely cause blindness. Some of it is recoverable depending which vein is affected, but for the most part, you just don't want to get it in the first place. The treatment is very effective, but it's not 100%. It doesn't tend to restore 100% vision. It tends to restore sort of most of the vision. But once an area of the eye has been devoid of blood for a while, it can sort of become weakened as a result. So prevention. So I mentioned that there were 3 different types. The high density cholesterol, the HDL, that you'll see on your blood test from the general practitioner, that's the one you want. Those are considered to be really beneficial. That helps your body function. Your body manufactures that. LDL, or low density, is bad. That's the one that causes the plaques. There's also triglycerides, which are also manufactured by your body from food consumption and things like that, but it can be a potential health risk as well. So how do we prevent getting high cholesterol? Obviously, if it's in your genetic makeup, just stay as healthy and fit as you can. Get tested regularly because you may need help from medications and things like that. But I'm a big believer of it's not what you take out of your diet necessarily, it's what you put in. Big advocate of that rule. What I mean there is that sure, you can have your occasional burger. One burger isn't going to kill you. Living on them might, and having a high animal fat diet might, but the occasional burger is not what's going to be dangerous. But having a regular intake of things like ancient grains, omega-3s, so fatty fish is a really good example of omega-3. Nuts is another really good example of omega-3s. All of these foods act to help reduce or help the body process those incorrect types of cholesterol and get rid of them so that they don't end up blocking anything. Heart attacks, strokes, and artery occlusions in the eyes are all very serious. They can cause temporary disease, but they can also very much cause death, because if you're having ischemic events in the eye, they're likely to be happening everywhere else as well. The eye is very, very narrow in that the arteries and the veins in the eye are quite tiny, which is why we tend to see things happen in the eye sooner. Also, we see the eye. We can easily look inside the eye. It's very detectable on photography. So that's probably why it's commonly diagnosed. Whereas you could be having little strokes and potentially not even know about it, depending on where they're happening and how large or small they are in the brain. Or you could be having a little pulmonary aneurysm, so little strokes of the lung. Not know about it necessarily, thinking that it's, asthma or something. I'm not sure. But the point of the story is that they can be quite symptom-free sometimes, and it would be really, really scary to have all these things sort of happening in your body warning you that something quite fatal could be happening and you're not even aware of it. So regular checkups are important for that reason, so that these things can be detected. I'm a big fan of things like oats, buckwheat, all the ancient grains in the diet. They're very easy to include because you can make, oat biscuits even. You could make buckwheat into a sweet dish or into a savory dish very, very easily as an alternative to pasta. There are now buckwheat products, so, buckwheat pastas or buckwheat sort of substitutes to wheat. So there are ways to get these roughages, these ancient grains into your food without necessarily changing your diet. Like I say, it's about adding rather than taking away. You can also get things like bikinis added to things like desserts as a bit of a crunch kind of factor. Very, very common in acai bowls and things like that, which have become very, very common these days in some places. Definitely Melbourne is full of these type of yumminesses. All these beautiful raw delicious bowls which are full of fruit and grains, and sometimes in winter it can be hot oats or whatever with these beautiful little additives on top. Nice and fresh and healthy, and not just delicious but also doing your body a lot of good. One of my all-time favorites is buckwheat pancakes. Huge fan of buckwheat pancakes. They are, you basically either mill some raw buckwheat or you can get buckwheat flour and you just go ahead and make pancakes like you would normally, and or waffles is another option. And they're so good with savory. Oh my goodness, so delicious. So much better than wheat, honestly. It's just got that earthiness to it, that yummy, yummy flavor, and it's so much healthier, which is so much better for you. So other than changing your diet, what else can you do? You most certainly can have, whether it be surgical or medical intervention for these sort of things. 100% you can. Let's hope you don't have to. Let's hope it doesn't ever get to that. But there are a lot of people that I see in my practice that are on a family of drugs called statins. Statins, they work. The way they work is they stop the liver from producing bad cholesterol in the first place, which, that can have its consequences. Some statins actually cause your bones to thin out, so they can cause osteoporosis. So it's something to, sure it's there, but it's not something to rely on as a plan B, for sure. It's definitely there to save your life if you need it, or to make you healthier if you need it, but it's not without its consequence. So if you can find a way to not need them, that would definitely be much more highly recommended. There are other medications, some that are protein blockers, some that are there to reduce triglycerides in your systems, some that produce absorption of cholesterol in your system. But you've got to know with medication, they're amazing. Where medicine is today is amazing. It definitely does save lives, prolong lives, all that sort of thing. But you've got to be aware of the fact that nothing is for free. All medication, no matter how safe it may be, has its side effects, okay? They may be fairly minor considering what they're actually trying to fix. So, the cost effect benefit for sure, but I still would recommend avoiding ever having to go on them rather than relying on them being there should you ever need them, because there's such a sort of known reality with medicine is that it doesn't come without its consequences. No way. No matter how good it is for you and no matter how important it is to take, you've got to be aware that there will be some kind of side effects. Cholesterol doesn't just block veins and arteries in the retina. The other thing it can cause is a yellow ring to form around the perimeter of the cornea, and that's referred to as an Arcus. Now, in of itself, it's not dangerous or anything. It's just a sign that there is high cholesterol, and your ophthalmologist may send you for blood tests just to make sure that the cholesterol is under control. But other than that, it's really, in of itself, not a big deal. The big deal comes from the fact that that area is where your pressure in the eye is controlled. So it's very close to the part of the eye which is referred to as the angle, and the angle is where all the fluid that comes into the eye that we need for nourishment then flows out. And if that can't happen efficiently, that's what causes glaucoma, causes damage to the nerve at the back. So it's actually been found, as it was a huge study done not too long ago, and it was actually found that you have a 7% increase of developing glaucoma if you have high cholesterol. So it's just definitely something to keep in mind. Even though cholesterol doesn't cause glaucoma, it definitely can increase your risk quite significantly. 7% doesn't sound like a lot, but it is significant if you're already predisposed, say genetically or because of your anatomy, to a pretty unpleasant disease. Another thing that can happen due to cholesterol buildup is Xanthelasma, which is where you get these little yellow blobs all around your eyelids, up to the eyebrows, and sort of generally around the eye area. Now, they can be removed by a plastic ophthalmologist. We do that a lot at where I work, for sure. But again, try not to get them in the first place, because they're not dangerous at all for the sight, but they're just very unpleasant looking. They kind of have this wart-like appearance, even though they're very much not viral in any way. They're not warts. And because they're right on your eyes, they can sort of change the way the lid is positioned, making it a little bit heavier or droopy even. And that causes the vision to actually be blocked. If the eye is sort of drooping down, you can actually block your peripheral vision as well. Not because of the cholesterol deposits necessarily, but because of the stretching of the skin that can occur as a byproduct, but also just because it's not very nice looking. Just from a aesthetic appearance type thing, like they're not nice. They're big yellow blotches. They're certainly the least dangerous of all the things that cholesterol can cause, but still not nice, and still also a warning sign of things that could come. So if it's happening, if it's building up around the thin layers of the skin around the eye, if it's building up around the cornea, if it's building up anywhere, it can still make you predisposed to the much more dangerous, much more fatal things. So when you Google, how do I lower my cholesterol, except for the different drug companies that will jump out at you and advertise what they can do for you, there's also a lot of really good advice. And this is what I tell my patients. For one thing, change your diet. Like I said, it's not what you take away, it's what you add in. And if you're adding in enough good stuff, not only is it helping you, but you're also eating less of the bad stuff. It's just simple as that. You're not cutting out burgers, you're not cutting out meat, you're not cutting out donuts and all the good stuff. Not at all. What you're doing is you're focusing on eating something really healthy so that when you do have the occasional donut, it's not going to be doing you as much harm. And also by consequence of eating good stuff, you're full from it, and you don't want that naughty food as much. You're not craving that stuff anymore because you're reducing. Become active. Exercise. If you don't like to run, I most certainly don't like to run. I don't like to be active. I actually have this sort of ongoing joke that I'm allergic to sweating. I don't like exercising, but I love dancing. I love music. You can do your own kind of exercise. There's actually an ad campaign at the moment by one of the insurance companies here in Australia, and they're showing how different people like to de-stress. It doesn't necessarily have to be the classic exercise. If you resonate with jazz music and it makes you move, go ahead, put on that jazz, rock, metal. Doesn't matter. Whatever your vibe is, go for it. As long as it makes you move, it makes you active, it makes you happy, it makes you de-stress, and it keeps your body pumping in the most healthy and correct way. That's all we really, really want for you. If you're on some sort of a drug, stop. If you're smoking, stop. See your practitioner about that. There are ways to reduce these things without, going cold turkey, without, torturing yourself. There are ways to drop it down slowly. If you drink alcohol a lot, reduce it. I'm not saying don't have a glass of wine. I'm not saying don't drink. I'm just saying don't drink to excess. Don't drink excessively, because it's just not good for you. And if you ask around, probably you'll be a better person for it as well, I have to say. Not a judgment by any means. If you're a happy drunk, then good for you. I've never met one. I think that there is a limit to any drug, legal or illegal. And, you just got to be sensible about things. And you've got to think about the fact that we've only been given one body. And if we're going to fulfill any kind of good missions on this earth, if we're going to do anything positive, this go at life, we need a very healthy vessel to be able to have the energy, to have the stamina, to have the decision-making power to do good things. And we can't do them if we're sick. We can't do them if we're having a heart attack or a stroke, and we can't even be there for our loved ones. I'm not talking about changing the world. You know, if you are changing the world, love what you're doing, keep going at it. But I'm just saying, just changing one person's world. You know, if you have a kid, or if you have a parent, or you have a sibling, if you have a best friend who cares about you and you don't care about yourself, that is enough to destroy someone. So I see this a lot every day in my work, which is why I speak about it so passionately. I never have judgment for anyone who chooses to smoke or drink or whatever. If that's what you're doing and you can't stop, or you don't feel like you can stop, I have absolutely no judgment for you. I've met so many people in that position, and I get it. I really do. It's a disease. It is. It's an addiction. It's not something that someone can control or choose, but you can make choices towards stopping, and you can make baby steps towards improving your general health. And even if that means, like I said, just substituting one behavior for another. For example, if you really, really feel like a sweet, why don't you go for a quick walk around the block? Spend half an hour going for a little bit of a walk, then come back and see if you still want it. Pick up a banana or a fruit that you enjoy instead of a sweet. And if you still want that sweet afterwards, well, at least you've had your vitamins and minerals too. There's little things that we can substitute, little baby changes in our lifestyles and our decision making every day, so that we can be present for longer and do good for longer, and look after ourselves and be good to the ones that love us. Okay, my lovelies, I hope you like this really bright and fun look. Goes with this dress really nicely, but also when I'm filming this, it is Purim, so I'm really, really excited to go for a bright look today. Having a bit of fun. Hope everybody had an amazing Purim for those who celebrate. What a wonderful festival where we can really, really, really celebrate resilience and survival and dedication and all the good things, all the positive things. Hopefully you had a nice day celebrating if you did, or just had a really nice Friday. If you haven't checked out Instagram yet, please go ahead. I just posted up a super cute thing with my beautiful poodle Baron. Check it out if you're a dog lover. You will definitely enjoy it. We brightened up all our days yesterday as I was posting. I showed a few people that were by me, and we all just had a big old oh moment. So definitely go ahead and join in on that one. A little bit of positive vibes out there in the Instagram sphere. If you're not a subscriber, go ahead and hit subscribe. This is a very small and very friendly channel, so please go ahead and join in. Lots more eye information videos on the weekend, and the occasional wrapping video in between. I'm going to try and be more consistent, but definitely going to have these eye videos for you up, and I'm going to try and include some wrapping tutorials as well as some life updates midweek. Wherever you are around the world, lovelies, I hope you're having an amazing day. Stay safe, stay healthy, stay very happy. Look after yourselves and your loved ones, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye.